Hi, good afternoon. I'm Mario Massoud. I'm the managing director and founding partner of Biomass Organic or Biomass SAL. Thank you very much for inviting me today to actually talk about our business. The reason we are here is actually to talk how our company thrives over the past 15 years during, before the crisis and during the crisis, and the role of the diaspora in investing and developing the agriculture sector in Lebanon and its potential. So first, I'm going to take those 10 minutes to present our company, and then hopefully you can discuss how the diaspora going in the future, the diaspora in the future can actually participate in what we've been doing. And listening to the panelists before, we're a bit more optimistic, but we'll talk about that. Okay, so our company, the past 15 years, we've been building the organic segment in Lebanon. The first 10, it took us 10 years to establish the industry at consumer level, at retailer level. And what we did is create the organic food industry in the country. Our company today is operating, our company today is owned by two family groups, one Lebanese, which is our family, the Massoud family, who are in the business of food distribution and import, and the French group, Unibel, who are leading cheesemaker in France, located in France, also in the food processing business. The company has been certified organic since 2007, so 18 years ago. And we've been certified for many types of products, many activities, many agro-food industry and agri-food processing. Over the years as well, we got other certifications. We were discussing before about export. We have today more than 4 or 5 certifications, all to comply with requirements in export markets, and which actually opened, this certification allowed us to open our export, allowed us to export in new markets, notably in Europe. We were among, last year, 2 years ago, we were among the first company to export Lebanese avocados, fresh avocados, to the UK market, to the French market, to the Spanish market. We're actually expanding into new crops as well to cater for the European market and the Gulf countries. The way we established, when creating Biomass, we had to create the entire organic industry. So we were actually operating all across the food value chain, from the farming to the post-harvest handling, including packaging, processing, and eventually the sales of the distribution and the export or the commercialization of our products. What's interesting today is to see what we did in creating the industry is establish a network of 50+ farmers in Lebanon, all certified organic, to have farming capacity, create product supply, create a selection of products, all of which helped us to increase organic products, make it affordable and available to Lebanese consumers and consumers in the region. What's also interesting about this chart is every step of the value chain that we're working on, we have partners. We've partnered up with farmers, with processing companies or agri-processing, food agro-processor, exporters, distributors, retailers, everyone in the food value chain. We have partners, we do it directly and we have partners, and this is how we managed to expand, and actually a lot of it helped us to maintain our operation during the crisis. This is a chart of the Lebanese farms, the organic farms across Lebanon. As you can see, they are available across Lebanon, in the Bekaa, on the coastal areas. And what happened is, because Lebanon is a very rich country in microclimates, we managed to produce more than 250 items, all certified organic, all available to Lebanese consumers, because we're located in different regions in Lebanon. I'm going to skip this one. Okay, commercially, we have 3 brands in the market. The first one is Biomass, which I hope most of you know. We've launched during the crisis 2 other brands, which are Happy Farmer and Hello Yellow. These brands were created to specifically cater for food segment in the fruits and vegetable category that was not catered for in previously, and today are yielding enormous growth in the local market and export markets. We are present in 3 food categories. So there's fruits and vegetables, eggs, and grocery items. We are distributing today our products in more than 250 outlets across Lebanon. Prior to the crisis, we were at 300 outlets. We went down to 200 outlets, and hopefully in the next year or 2, we'll be distributing in more than 400 retail outlets across the country. Historically, we started exporting our products to the Gulf countries in 2012. We were the first company in Lebanon to export organic products to the Gulf. And more recently, we started exporting to Europe. This is the authorization from the French Ministry of Agriculture to export to the French market and other markets in Europe. A small snapshot of our products in retail markets and a small snapshot of our products the way you would see them in the market. Now, why is the agri-food industry important to Lebanon? Lebanon has been historically the food basket of the Middle East. Historically, back in the Roman Empire, Lebanon was producing fruits and vegetables, even cereals, that was sold in Europe and sold in the Gulf countries. As Lebanon, since 1975, so the past 50 years, no investment has been done, or very little investment has been done in the agriculture segment. And it has one of the most growth potential and revival potential of the Lebanese economy going forward. Why is agriculture important to Lebanon? For many reasons, most of which are the fact that we have really a unique climate, unique terroir, unique biodiversity, unique water access, unique microclimates that makes Lebanon a very rich country to pursue agriculture projects. The second important point is the proximity to Lebanon, of course, to export markets, to the Gulf countries, to Europe, to the GCC country, which as well makes us strategically interesting as agriculture operators. The third one is Lebanon. A lot of people don't know this, but Lebanon benefits from what we call harvest windows and export windows for fresh crops, so for fresh fruit and vegetables, meaning that when Lebanon produces, I would say, avocados, the South African the African continent and the South American continent are not producing at the same time as us. These harvest windows and these export windows makes Lebanese crop very interesting for export markets, especially to Europe, especially to Eastern Europe as well, and the Gulf countries. And the potential to export Lebanese production, very interesting too. The fourth point is the fact that Lebanese farms are small in sizes and small in scale, makes organic farming and sustainable farming as well a very interesting model to pursue, or production system to pursue, because we can be very competitive, even against large countries like Turkey, Syria, or Egypt. And it has been proven this. We can be very competitive, and despite having operating costs sometimes that are more expensive than in other countries. Finally, the labor force. Agriculture demands a lot of manual labor and demand a lot of labor force, which we are fortunate to have, whether from Lebanon, Syria, or neighboring countries, and which in itself is a strength for the agri-food sector. As a company, what have we been doing the past 10 years? So the past 10 years, our role as Biomass is to modernize the agriculture segment in Lebanon. We've invested a lot in the production standards, so improving the products' specification, freshness, quality. All of this with certifications, international certification, to make sure that products that we sell in the Lebanese market, in the Gulf countries or in Europe, are up to the maximum standards available today in the market. The second point we've been doing is focusing, modernizing varieties and crops that we plant historically in Lebanon to minimize food waste, because a lot of the waste is lost at farming level. And minimizing waste makes products cheaper, more affordable to consumers, and as well more affordable to food processor. Before in the panel, someone was discussing, we need to start producing locally the raw material. We are doing this. Farming is at the heart of producing raw material that allows agri-food sectors and agri-food companies to produce transformed product and processed product and so on. And finally, we've been investing a lot in automation. So we've been automating the farming processes, as well the post-harvest handling, from grading, ripening, sorting, packaging products to make it up to standards, up to international standards for the Lebanese market as well and the international markets. A lot of the achievement we did in the past years can be summarized in the fact that we established a new industry, which is the organic food industry, which in Lebanon accounts for less than 1% of the food segment. Globally, it's already at 5%. So we believe there's a lot of room to grow for this industry. In the past 10 years as well, we did, our project is to offer consumers a maximum of products and a maximum of affordable products with that can be afforded, that are competitive enough for consumers and consumer brands. And in the crisis, a lot of our projects as well were to develop new brands, to test new farming system, to test new markets, and so on. During the crisis, our company, through the support of international program, the diaspora, and so on, we managed to establish quite a few things, mostly the exports to the European markets, mostly in Europe. When we got a ban on the Lebanese market and a ban on the Bahraini market, we decided quite rapidly to see or to explore opportunities in the European markets. And avocados and fresh fruits were among the fastest crop for us to export, and which we did two and 3 years ago. The second thing we did, we launched as well during the crisis a lot of new products to continue making organic available. Despite the loss in purchase power, despite everything, we created other brands to fight off the purchase power that were lost during the economic crisis. But all of these initiatives that we took back in the days of the crisis are today resulting in extremely interesting growth for the company. Before the crisis, we lost 80% of our turnover during the crisis, 80%. And by the end of 2025, we're going to be at more 150% of what we were before the crisis. So the crisis, for us, with the investment we made in the branding, in the products, in the markets, in the automation, in the processes, actually are yielding their results at the moment in the past year or two. And the growth we've been witnessing in the past 3 years is actually quite enormous, which makes us believe that we're only starting to grow in the segment, in the agri-food segment where we operate, and that the opportunities in these segments are actually extremely vast. I'm going to talk about the funding because this is why we are here today. A lot of the funding before the crisis was done via capital from our family, via investors, and capital increase and financial transaction equity participations that happened in 2012 and 2016 for our company, and as well from the banking sector. During the crisis, these sourcing funds disappeared, and we were one of the lucky companies to benefit from some of the available source of funding, whether grants or convertible loans and so on, that were offered via international programs or offered via the diaspora initiatives for companies like us to pursuing their transformation plan or pursuing their growth despite everything was happening in the country. Going forward, we believe that, as I mentioned before, the banking sector will not play a role in funding the private sector. We also believe that capital will be difficult, grant and aid will stop, and they already have stopped. So we actually, quite to the contrary of what was said before, we believe that the diaspora has enormous opportunity to invest in Lebanon in opportunities because some of these companies and because the crisis actually what happened after the crisis is that a lot of the companies have developed into new work stream and new opportunities, and these requires investment that actually can yield quite interesting growth and quite interesting returns for investor interesting in, at least for us, in the agri-food segment. I was mentioning export to Europe, I was mentioning export to the Gulf countries. Everything we did in the past or we're planning to do next has been enabled via the diaspora. Our contact with international buyers, we sell to the largest buyers in Europe, to the largest buyer in the Gulf countries, crops that are produced in small, medium, or big farms across Lebanon. And we managed to do this because of the diaspora. The internationalization, the exports, the networking, the approach to identifying, exploring, and materializing opportunities for the agri-food sector has been done and is still being done via the diaspora. And also in terms of funding, as I was mentioning, a lot of the funding, whether from Beritech programs or a lot of the funding from the diaspora that came from the diaspora, has been invested in our company or in agriculture projects that have improved the sector as a whole. We as a company are planning as well a growth. I mean, for us, the next 5 years are hopefully going to be very interesting in terms of growth, in terms of internationalization, in terms of production capacity in Lebanon. We're working very hard in the past year to establish these levers for the next 5 years, including funding, including financing, including exporting to new countries, acquiring the right certification and standards to open new markets for Lebanese crop, for Lebanese farmers, to reach to new markets and existing markets. This is it. This is what I want to share. I'm presenting few pictures of some of our projects we have in the Bekaa. For example, this is a vegetable farm we have in Mansoura in the Bekaa. These are part of the newest infrastructure we have in nurseries, in the agri-food sector as well. This is a restaurant in the Batroun. It's a farm-to-table restaurant that has been very interesting as a platform to communicate to explain to consumer or to showcase to consumers how organic farming is being done. And this is it. If there's any question, please let me know. Thank you.
Quick question. You mentioned that you were exporting to Saudi pre-2021.
We were. It was our biggest market.
Yes. And what happened after you lost that market was that you went into diversifying, creating fighting brands. Is that?
Yes.
Yes. And the fighting brands became brands themselves.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Because I just want to make sure that you grasped it properly. And sorry. The diaspora is about to go. Thank you. Right now, you're at a phase of growth that has, I can say it's pivotal.
Yeah.
It's tipping.
Yes.
And any funds that are invested in your farms, etc., that are organic.
Yes. Purely
organic.
We have organic and non-organic farms. We have two brands. One is for the organic, which is Biomass, and we have other brands as well and other projects which are...
Yes, but you're known most for
Both
the organic, and that's the image we get when we see the Biomass brand.
Both are growing. Everything is growing. in farming at the moment.
Everything is?
Growing.
Yeah, I know, but the Biomass brand itself is organic.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So what we see in the organic, in the store sections of organic is literally biomass and essentially biomass.
Yes.
And all over Lebanon, you should be in 400
Yes.
different outlets by the end of the year.
Next year.
Okay. What if you cover the Lebanese market? Where do you anticipate yourself going? Do you have a 5-year business plan? Do you have a vision?
Yeah.
Do you have a growth plan beyond concentrating on that traditional Gulf market that will always be close to us, but that may still be closed?
So, surprisingly enough, all the work I've been mentioning standard, I've been mentioning certification, I've been mentioning packaging and products. A lot of the efforts we've been deploying the past 5 years, which are yielding results today, are mostly for the local market. And we believe that the local market, as I said, the global average is around 5% in modern market, but globally it's around 2%. In Lebanon, we are not even at 3 per mil. So the room to grow in the organic segment is still, especially in Lebanon, is quite immense. We sell for $15 or $20 million in Lebanon. The Middle East accounts for $15 billion, will account for $15 billion in organic food. So, and Lebanon is very adapted for this type of production. Our company is gearing up at all levels, financially, production, capacity building, team building. We've been hiring for the past 3 years. We've been exploring new markets. We've been doing so at so many levels of our development. We've been investing in time, resources, human resources, financial resources to actually start or continue growing and tackling this market in the Middle East.
You keep mentioning the market in the Middle East, and this is what I wanted to say.
So Saudi was big, but we expect Saudi to reopen. We expect Syria and land transit from Syria to happen again. We're in the Middle East center here. We've been exporting fruit and vegetables via air freight. And air freight is extremely expensive. Most of the country in the region, for example, if we say, how can the state help? Most of the country have subsidized rates for fruit and vegetables when shipping via air freight or via land transit. A company like Middle East here, for example, could reduce tariff to help exporters like us via air freight or other means, of course, to be more competitive. Markets like Saudi, we expect market in Saudi because we've been in discussion with the attachés in those countries, with the ambassador in those countries. We expect those historical countries, which were historically for us as export markets, to open up again. But going forward, everything is going. I mean, where we see the opportunities is in the local market. Where we see the opportunities is again in the Gulf market because we expect these countries, Bahrain and Saudi, to reopen. But as well, Dubai is getting bigger. The UAE in general is getting bigger. Qatar, Kuwait as well. The trend of organic and sustainable food is growing globally and specifically in the region as well. And Europe. Yes.
May I just, if we are to focus on anything else but the region, do you see Eastern Europe as a potential for Lebanese organic exports?
So for organic, but as well for agriculture product in general. Why is it interesting? Because Lebanon, as I mentioned before, Lebanon has what we call export windows. When we harvest, I would say, avocados, France or Greece or Russia doesn't have avocados, for example. These countries are either producing fruits later in the season than Lebanon, or they don't really produce those fruit. And this is valid when you look in the northern hemisphere countries, and it's valid as well when you look at the southern hemisphere countries. Lebanon produces crops that are not produced in regional countries, or if they are produced, they are not produced at the same time, which makes opportunities for export very large. We can produce and sell and export in times before harvest starts in other countries, and all of Europe, whether the Eastern market, the Western Europe or the Eastern European countries are actually a target market for Lebanese crops.
Excellent. I just wanted to highlight that because the person speaking before you, Dr. Dal Hatti, are you still around? Yes? As a member of the Georgian Chamber of Commerce, I think, who has ties with that, eventually sometime next year, the Lebanese...
With pleasure. With pleasure.
Yeah?
With pleasure.
The Lebanese International Business Council may be having an exposition in Georgia in particular for Lebanese products. So I was considering whether you would consider markets other than the Middle East.
We've been approached by Russia, we've been approached by, not Georgia, but by Turkey, by Russia, by different countries in Eastern Europe and northern of the Mediterranean to export Lebanese crops and Lebanese food products.
I just want to add that Dr. Dal is a member of the Board of Trustees of the Lebanese International Business Council. I jotted it down as Secretary General. Yes, we will talk to you directly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. عندنا بالمزرعة وعندنا 50 مزرعة. كل مزرعة. ما في مزرعة ما بتنفحص لها أرضها ومنتوجها وميتها. So كل مزرعة قبل ما تاخذ الشهادة رح أحكي بالإنجليزي. Before acquiring the certification, you need to test the soil, the water, and the crops if the crop was existing before. If it didn't exist, then it's considered a virgin land. If you have neighboring, I'm going to go a bit technically, but if you have neighboring land, you need to create buffer zones. You need to make sure that your neighbor is not spraying during windy days, so you get cross-contamination. If you have issues with water, you install filtration stations. We've installed in 2 farms in the Bekaa filtration system, water filtration system, just to make sure we have water that is clean for the certification. Every farmer we work with, we test, every single one. Okay, we test for fruits and vegetables, and actually you need to know that when we export to some countries, mostly in Europe and in the GCC, mostly in the Emirates, so Dubai, when we export, we are forced to test for residues. If there's 1% of residues in what is called an organic products, you no longer go in the market. Yeah, they're very, very, very much so, yes. Yes. And to answer the second question on the farmers, a lot of the farmers actually, some in the past, so today we work with 50 farmers. We're hoping to reach 150 farmers in the next 2 years as well. And over the past 10 years or 15 years, we worked with 100 more. We had incidents where they were cheating and we caught them because of the testing. We had incidents or they were not apt, they couldn't understand farming without pesticide or without chemical products. So we had either to train or to let go of farmers just to make sure that those who are interested in doing organic farming, we can help. And we have a technical team of engineers to go at the farm level to support them technically on how to plant the practices of organic farming practices to make sure they yield products. Anytime.
Thank you, Mario.
Thank you
for coming over here today and giving us all the insights and the data and the vision. And we wish you all the best of luck.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.